Syrian rebels captured the key city of Hama yesterday. They're quickly closing on President Bashar al-Assad and the capital, Damascus.
Rebel leader Abu Muhammad al-Jalani.
What is happening in Syria is significant for the entire world.
Let's get the very latest now from Russell Serdar, who's in Kilis at the Turkish border with Syria. Russell, what are you hearing of these reports that the opposition fighters are close to Damascus?
Indeed, now they are getting closer and closer to the capital, Damascus.
And with the war in Gaza still raging and a ceasefire in Lebanon on shaky ground, Israeli forces are now expanding their operations in Syria. The IDF says it conducted another strike in Damascus, claiming they targeted Hezbollah's representative to the Syrian military.
These pictures coming into us of a toppling of a statue of President Bashar al-Assad's father in the suburbs of Damascus. So we believe around 10 kilometers or so from the city centre, a significant moment in this war, which has been raging on for more than a decade, of course.
Syria's civil war has stood at a stalemate for years, but over the weekend, rebel fighters captured cities and towns across 3 of Syria's northwestern provinces. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has promised to push back the rebel forces. Syria's allies, Russia and Iran, have both promised to aid in the fight.
Right, General, if the Assad regime falls, and it's looking pretty shaky, would that be good news for Israel?
Yeah, overall, it certainly would, but there's likely going to be mixed feelings here. First of all, Syria is a client of Iran, and it was into Damascus airport for years that Iran would fly all the rockets and missiles and other munitions that Hezbollah in Lebanon needed. Israel at times would attack those munitions when they were put into warehouses or when they were put into trucks with their fighter aircraft at times. Also, coming out of Iraq from Iran, they would drive literally across the entire Syrian country with munitions, rockets, and missiles also on the ground to get them to the Hezbollah. And that's why the Hezbollah accumulated 130 to 150,000 weapons. And at times, the Syrians tried to establish Hezbollah bases north of Israel, and Israel would attack them with fighter aircraft. So if the Assad regime falls, which itself is a stunning surprise, but if it does happen, that client state, supporting Iran is removed. However, this is a derivative of al-Qaeda that's taken over, radical Islamists. Yeah. They are not moderate opposition forces who want democracy, quite the opposite. And it remains to be seen what kind of mischief they would cause with Israel being right on their border. And the Israelis will watch this like a hawk.
So what's the latest on Israel's operations in Syria, and how's this connected to the broader conflict in the region?
Diane, Israel has essentially been acting with impunity in Syria since the start of the October 7th war. What they have been trying to do, according to a senior Israeli official, is trying to sever the link between Hezbollah and Iran, which is activated through Syria. Basically, Iran is transferring weapons to Hezbollah through Syria, and they've been trying to cut that off. And what they said they did yesterday is attack the main liaison between Iran and Hezbollah. This, according to Israel, has nothing to do with the broader conflict, that emerging civil war, the re-emerging civil war that we've seen, especially in the north of Syria. That has to do with pro-Turkish or Turkish-backed fundamentalist Muslim rebels fighting the Syrian government, which is both backed by Iran and by Russia. But Israel says that this is completely separate. It does not want anything to do with it. But that's obviously a major conflict in the region that everybody has started to watch. Just one more thing. We understand also that now Jordan is increasingly concerned about the rebellion, that revolt in Syria. They're worried that it's going to spill over into their territory as well, Diane.
Forcing thousands of civilians to flee and Syrian military forces to retreat. As power slips from Bashar al-Assad's once iron grip. Now the rebels make their way south to Homs, and if they're successful, they'll control 3 of Syria's 5 largest cities, leaving no major urban centers between them and the capital, Damascus. A lightning offensive that the UN warns could soon displace as many as 1.5 million people. God willing, this fighter tells CBS News, we will continue until we free all Syrians from the Assad regime.
But they are an Islamist militant group. They are on the terrorist list of the United States and neighboring Turkey. They have said that the stated aim now is to just strike back against Iranian-backed militias and the Syrian regime, which has continued to attack them and their people. They're largely focused on that area in northwest Syria, which includes Idlib. But they're already threatening to march on to Damascus. But the aim in the beginning was to overthrow the regime, and they may continue to hold those aspirations.
Iran and Hezbollah still have his back, but bogged down by their own wars with Israel.
It's just surrealistic that within 10 days, the government has been losing its control over the majority of the country, nearly 60% of the country. And now it is redirecting its all forces from the south, from the east, from the north, from all the remote areas to the capital city, Damascus.
But I have to say, you know, these rebels were able to take over Aleppo in 48 hours. The last time that took months. So this is a fight that is going to get involved and complicated. Just depends on how hard Iran and Russia can help the Assad regime in stopping them in their tracks.
This group is essentially a spin-off of Al-Nusra Front, which was an spin-off, and so again a recognized terrorist group.
We want to see de-escalation of the situation. The organization that launched this offensive over the weekend is a terrorist organization designated as such by the United States. We certainly do not support that organization.
900 U.S. troops remain stationed in Syria to counter ISIS. If the Kurds who are guarding the camps where 45,000 affiliated refugees are held in eastern Syria decide they have to leave, that could mean a resurgence of Brett?
Clearly a major resurgence, a major movement, and now we are seeing these images coming to us from the capital, Damascus, where there are reports that Bashar al-Assad has either left his presidential palace or the capital. The Syrian state news agency is reporting that to be false news and that he continues to work.
I can't help but think of all the money that has been wasted in recent years. Money for rockets and tunnels and all that, and drones and what have you. Constant fighting, constant warfare throughout the Mideast. All that money's wasted. Could have been used for something good.
No, there's no doubt about it. If you go back to 1948, you know, after the UN helped establish the State of Israel and bring it all forward, the amount of money and suffering through many, many decades is truly horrific. You know, all over one central issue, the existence of the State of Israel.
That's it. That's it.